Welcome back. We've been discussing problem gambling in North Carolina with Kelly Crosbie. And Kelly, you know, people who are in this cycle of addiction, usually, we're looking at people that at some point, more often than not, hit rock bottom. So before we get into that, who are they? Is there a specific age group? I go to a casino and see a lot of very gray-haired people sitting at the penny slots versus you go to the room where all the sports betting is. So who is the problem person out there that needs to seek help?
Fabulous question, right? So first, morethanagame.nc.gov, there's never any wrong reason to call, right? So if you even have a question like, is this a problem? Or does my son have a problem? Or my brother have a problem? There's no wrong reason to call in to kind of get some advice. But just for anybody, here are things that you should look out for, right? So with anything else, especially with online sports betting, we are trying to train people to be really mindful. So you know maybe how much time you're going to do it on any given day. You know how much money you're actually going to spend, whether you win or lose. And so you see a problem when it starts smaller, like you start to push those boundaries, right? You start to do it much longer than you anticipated, or you do something called chase the loss. You set $20, but you lost it, and you just kind of can't live with that. And so you know if you play another hour or just one more bet, you put one more bet, you're going to make it back plus some. And you don't want to lose money, you want to make money or at least break even. So those are small, insidious things that we start to see. But that's how it starts. And then over time, what happens is people spend increasing amounts of time on online sports betting, and that begins to detract from other parts of their life, right? That could be anything from you're betting while you're supposed to be in class, you're betting while you're supposed to be at work, or while you're at their dinner table, or you're supposed to watching like a show at night with your loved one or at your kid's t-ball game or something like that. But also you're spending more money than you had planned on. You may have a secret credit card that you put money on. You may borrow against the bill money this month because you know you're going to make it up. So when you see it start to creep beyond the boundaries you believe you set for yourself, you're not in control of it anymore.
I often joke that the only way I'm going to be able to retire is to win lotto. Is that kind of what it is, where this is the only way I'm going to get ahead in a big way is to do this? Is that the mentality maybe?
Yeah, that's funny because I make that joke too. I'm going to win the lottery and that's how I'm going to retire. But there's a lot that goes into the psychology of why gaming is so it feels so good to people. It really does. Like, it actually releases, and this is why it's very insidious for young people, right? When you win, you actually feel really good, and it releases good chemicals in your brain. So you get automatic a dopamine hit. Like when you win, you actually feel physically really, really good. So sometimes it's not even just about the money, you actually feel really good. And then when you're not playing the game, you crash, and that feels really, really bad. And the thing that makes you feel better again is this hit that makes you feel really, really good. So a lot of times it's not like people are just pinning all their hopes on winning lots and lots of money. They did it for fun. It's always fun to win a couple extra bucks. But then it starts to be the way that you actually feel good. And then the moment you start to lose money that you do not have, that's when people start to really begin to, that's when you get the real financial pressure that you got to play more because you've lost money and you're afraid that others will find out.
Yeah, it's a never-ending cycle.
It can be, unfortunately. I mean, that's also a good thing about the morethanagame.nc.gov program. It's not just like mental health therapy, which teaches you about like what why you're craving gaming, if you will, and how you can be mindful and deal with the craving in other ways and make good decisions. It also helps with really practical things like financial counseling. I'm not even kidding. So like we have financial counselors for the people who have racked up $10,000 in credit card debt, who have remortgaged their homes. I mean, those are extreme. But even think about one person, you spent this much mortgage money. For most of us, that is uber stressful. We don't have an extra mortgage payment laying around every month. So it doesn't have to be like your life savings. That kind of money can really put folks into a spiral. So you can actually call and get financial counseling and help if you've gotten yourself into a bind financially.
This kind of addiction, is it similar to any kind of addiction? I mean, alcoholism, what have you?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, so gambling is a behavior that causes a physical reaction in you, just like drinking or using marijuana or Oxycodone produces a very specific feeling in you. It just does. But it also, so there's a physical component, just like there is with alcohol or other substances, but there's certainly that, we call it a cognitive component, or the way you think about it, right? So like being on alcohol can actually make you feel, it does, it really affects your frontal lobe. So it often makes you feel more confident or better about yourself or more relaxed. It actually does. Gambling, it's the same thing. So we see things like magical thinking in gambling. Like if you have a string of wins, you start to actually think you're lucky and you got on a lucky streak and you need to keep going. Or if you just play 777 all the time, you're going to win. So we see like really distorted ways of thinking. So it's, yeah, and that way it's like substance use, right? There's a physical component and there's a mental component to your behavior.
Well, let's go through the process. If you're someone out there watching this morning and you think you need some help, I know you have a hotline.
Yes.
And they can call that. Who do they talk to? What happens after they do that?
Yes, and I cannot stress enough. You can call the number, which we will advertise. You can also go to morethanagame.nc.gov. It'll have the number, but it'll also have just like resources. And for schools, it has like ways you can connect with us so we can come and actually train your folks at your school, which is really cool. But what happens when you call, to get to your point, is you'll just talk to a trained counselor, and it's totally anonymous. I cannot stress this enough. It is anonymous and free, no judgment. No one's going to come to your house. And they're going to just be really comfortable with you and be like, hi, I'm so-and-so. What would you like me to call you? Tell me what you're calling about today. It'll just be wide open. Tell me what you're calling about today. And then you may say, well, I just had some questions today. And they'll just go with you in whatever thing you need to talk about. Because sometimes people call because they're afraid they have a problem. But even the first call, they can't really say that. So just know that you'll get a really accepting person. They'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. And if you do need information, like what are some signs? What are some tips? Where can I get help for my brother? They will help you with whatever. But a judgment-free, totally anonymous place.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest stop, right? Your own pride and feeling that.
Yeah, I think the one thing I'll say is that I want folks to not take away from this that that we're trying to vilify gambling. Not at all. People can gamble and have fun. I encourage you to set limits and stay in those limits. How much time, when, how much you're going to spend, and just enjoy yourself. We set limits, or we say we're going to go have dinner and go to the movies, and we spend $100 on that without a thought. It was $100 spent on a good time. Think about gambling the same way. You're going to spend $100 on a good time. Don't act like you lost $100 and you need to make it back. It's you had $100 on a good time and the money is spent. So set boundaries for yourself. Try to be in the right mental space. If you see you're going over your boundaries, reach out for help. It is totally judgment-free. And reach out early before something worse happens.
Well, it's the first step, right? And it's too bad that's not the dopamine you want to use. Use that, make the call, and then and get the help.
Exactly.
Kelly, hey, I learned a lot. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And hey, don't you go anywhere, because we'll be right back.